mentality I go on for these things. All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. I am Shon Williams, aka Mr. President, and welcome back to the Safe Room, a safe space for entrepreneurs and business owners here in Toronto to share their personal and professional stories. And guys, I'm feeling great. Yesterday I got a nice little workout in. I did arms and legs, so I'm definitely feeling the pump. And speaking of exercising, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today when it comes to our special guest. He is the founder of Blacksmith Performance and a leader in the fitness industry. Listen, for all the people out there who's trying to like get their fitness game up, trying to pick their weight up, this is the conversation and the interview that you need to be tapping into. He supports entrepreneurs and driven professionals through personal training, online training, and corporate wellness. I feel like there's nothing he can't do. There's nothing this gentleman can't do. So, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Blacksmith Performance himself, Mr. Will Haywood. Will, how's it going, man?
It's going great, man. Thank you for the introduction. Appreciate it. Awesome.
Of course, man. I mean, again, like I say, I'm still feeling the burn from yesterday. I did arms and legs, so I'm like, I'm feeling good. I feel accomplished in a way,
Yeah. That's what working out does for you. Boosts your endorphins. You feel great. You have good energy.
Okay, I see we're getting with the wordplay already. Endorphin. Okay, listen, guys, y'all got to get your notebooks ready, okay? Because I know Will's about to drop some gems for this conversation. Anyway, guys, yes, we're gonna have Will talk a little bit more about Blacksmith Performance, how he got started in his fitness journey, and especially for all the males out there. I hope you're listening because this conversation we're gonna try to structure it more to male fitness and everything like that. So we're gonna go into detail in terms of just like what workouts you should be doing, just how you can improve your health and your wellness and everything like that. But before we get into all the main stuff, the main questions, we have to start off with our hot seat segment. Now, well, I promise you it's nothing too crazy. I know everyone gets super nervous. But all I have here is 4 questions. I want you to answer them to your best abilities, okay?
Gotcha.
Perfect. All right, so here's the first question. So outside of the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in 1 sentence.
Something about myself in 1 sentence. It's the first thing that came to mind is I'm a dancer. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I feel like now we gotta dive a little bit deeper. Shout out to all the dancers out there. When did this start?
Shout out to all the dancers. I mean, I think it's a good segue because it definitely connects with where I am in fitness. But my main style of dance is crump. Even my name of my business has parallels with my dance name, Blacksmith. So yeah, I'm a crumper, and shout out to the Toronto dance community, Toronto crump community, Canada crump, all of that.
Wow, that is so honestly, I feel like an answer like that would probably be so like appropriate for like the 3rd question in this segment. But I'm glad that you did say it now because like I think that was literally the last thing I was expecting from you in terms of like telling me something about yourself. I thought you would have probably gave yourself like a character trait that kind of like represents you, but it's like, I'm a dancer. It's like you're a dancer and you're in fitness. Okay, like I like it. It's different.
Well, I felt like, coming on here and just sharing about what I do, and letting people know a little bit about me I think we'll get into a lot of that as well. So it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Okay, I like how we're started, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. Okay, let's go on to the next question. This one's a very interesting one. What's your biggest nitpick when it comes to fitness influencers or trainers creating content on social media?
Ooh, so these are the starting questions. Nitpicky. So one thing I'm not a big fan of is when fitness professionals roast other fitness professionals in social media. Yeah, it's a little bit cringe, and I'm kind of seeing that sort of cycle. And I work on my algorithm right? Like you got to make sure you're seeing the right stuff, you're following the right people. Um, but yeah, it's, I really love our industry. I'm passionate about it, and it's tough to see other people bash each other in different ways. Um, so yeah, that's kind of something I'm not a fan of on social media.
Yeah, and I think that's really important too, considering individuals who maybe want to get into fitness or maybe get back into fitness, depending on where they are in their journey. When you see other like fitness influencers or trainers, whatever, roast other fitness influencers online, it just kind of feels like you're given this false perception about how the fitness community is. It's like, oh, it's toxic. It's like, is it really like this all the time? Like you're roasting people 24/7. But I like the wording that you say that you try to avoid the algorithm. So it's really like again up to that person to say, like, well, do you want to keep seeing that on your social media feed? Or is it like, I don't want to even associate with that. Like I know for me, like I could probably see lots of podcasts roasting other podcasts or saying like, "Oh, this platform's trash." Like I don't listen to them. Like you guys be listening to that. Like, but no, I try to block myself out of that. Like I don't listen to that
Yeah,
algorithm, and I kind of circle myself around, people that uplift me. So I like the way you even word that. It was very unique.
yeah. And I think even to that degree, the people that say these other things and bash people, they might say that, oh, we need to just tell everyone that this is the wrong thing or this is the wrong info. Um, yeah, don't worry about that. Like people need to have their own discernment when they're going on social media. People need to ensure that they're, seeking out professionals. Like social media can give you some insight, but if you need help, like you're in legal trouble, you're not looking on Instagram. If you are trying to work on your finances, like, yeah, you might get some ideas and get some insight, but you're probably going to reach out to a financial professional. So don't worry about other people. Stay in your lane. Focus on what you want to share and what you can provide.
Definitely for sure. All right, let's get on to the next question here. I want you to share an interesting fact about yourself, an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Interesting fact. So I shared the dance thing. Again, first thing that comes to mind, whenever I do things like these, public speaking, I'll do vocal exercises. So
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of like a warm up my voice. I know I do have a lower, deeper tone, so it just helps to make sure that I sound clear. My voice is strong, and I'm speaking well and speaking clearly. So if I have like a long day, a lot of clients, that'll be something to kind of start off my day, help with my confidence, help with my tone. Yeah, it's something that I still work on from time to time in terms of like tonality, but definitely in terms of like power and clarity. My voice is not breaking up. Like speaking to people, I don't want to have my voice cracking. So yeah, vocal exercises.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's super important. I feel like, maybe I should try doing that myself. Usually I just kind of like
Hey,
go in and just kind of see like, okay, I'm not really thinking about that. It's on the back of my head, but I think that's super important. Again, you want to have like that consistency within your tone, again, the tonality, understanding your cadence at some points as well. I think is super important. So I like that. I think that's something that's not only an interesting fact, but it's like a tip. It's a good tip that you even shared right there. So
yeah, yeah.
okay, perfect. Going on to the final question for this hot seat segment is, what is your personal safe room? So what is a safe space? It could be physical, could be mental, that allows you to be your authentic self.
That's a good question. It's a great question. As in like a space that allows me to just be me, be myself.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I think it revolves around. That's a great question. I don't think a lot of people think about that. um, Safe space. Well, I think it's definitely wherever I feel that I can just be very honest. I think it's I think it's about like other people's responses. Like if I'm in a public setting, maybe it's more of like an energy thing, like just how I feel about another person, how they feel about themselves, like just feeling comfortable, right? Like I like to crack jokes. I like to talk smack with friends, with clients, right? So I guess even to think in that degree and with that regard, there's certain people that I might work with that I might not make the same jokes with another person, right? So just being able to feel that maybe that match in energy from another person or in a social setting and a group around me, that allows me to just do that and have fun or just be who I am. I think that's more of like an energy thing.
Yeah, definitely. And what I really love about your answer, you didn't say the gym. Think like I was waiting for like, oh, it's the gym, but you didn't say that, which I think is like it really speaks to like, yes, I'm within the fitness industry, so you would assume that like my safe space, my safe room, like it's the gym because it's what I do 24/7. But for you to just say like it really depends on just like what space I'm in, and I feel like it shows just like you can understand like this is my business, but it's like the gym doesn't have to be like my safe space. It could be something completely different, or again, it depends. So I like that, because again,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are probably assuming like, oh, he's gonna say the gym because that's what he does. It's fitness. But I love how it was a different approach in your answer.
Yeah. Well, that was a really good question. Like I've never been asked that before. So, I mean, I might even reflect on that a little bit more and see what other ideas I might come up with. But I think if your safe space is only somewhere physical, that can be an issue because what happens if you don't have access to that space or if you're not close to that space? So trying to find that or recognize that like within yourself and then who you surround yourself with. I think that would be something that you want to manage when it comes to having a safe space.
Definitely, absolutely. Okay, so those were all the questions for the hot seat segment. I think you gave us some fantastic answers. So 10 out of 10. We're now going to get into all the main questions now. But again, if you guys are just tuning in, this is the safe room here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with Will, the founder of Blacksmith Performance. We're going to be going into fitness, the conversation around fitness, his journey, how he got started. And I'm telling you guys, you definitely want to take your notebooks out because we're going to be talking a lot and there's going to be a lot of gems, a lot of tips dropped. I think he dropped a couple already in the hot seat segment. So, I mean, like, you gotta catch up. You gotta start catching up with the conversation. But let's get into the first question here. So, well, what made you want to start your fitness journey, and how did it impact how you carry yourself pertaining to your health? Just how you go to the gym every single day, or even just like nutrition wise. Like, how did you get started with your fitness journey, and just how it impacted you personally and even professionally overall?
That's a great question. I get asked that question often. And I believe some people might think it's just like one significant thing. Like, for example, like, oh, how'd you get into basketball? Well, I saw Michael Jordan play and I was just inspired and I just started practicing. I made it to the league, right? Like, I don't think for myself, it's not one simple thing, but it might be a sequence of things that got me more and more excited about being in the fitness industry. So, for example, one of the earliest memories I remember was my cousin. He really introduced me into fitness. He worked out a lot with his friends. He let me know about like T Nation, which at the time was one of the hottest websites. It's like more of like a bodybuilding forum, but it was kind of looked at as like the hub for fitness online. And so I'd read a lot on that website. I'd learn a lot. And then even getting into like in high school, one of my close friends, we'd work out in his basement, after school. We had access to a gym, so there was a gym at school. So I was like, working out, seeing these things, reading these things, but I didn't really know I wanted it to be a career. I think one of the main shifters and drivers was when I was training with the track team. So I was playing basketball for the basketball team, and in the off season, in the summertime, we were training with the the track team. Yeah, it was very different way to move and train your body. July, August, we were training early September, and then getting into the basketball season. I remember, on one play, getting a rebound and like running down the court, and I'm like, whoa, like I'm ahead of everyone. Like, oh shoot, actually, I'm fast. Like I'm a lot faster than I was before, So I think that really sparked something in me where like, oh, you can like change something about you in terms of how you perform, right? Like I knew the aesthetic side and I understood that, but to feel that really got me intrigued. And then coincidentally enough, in that last year of high school, we also had an anatomy course. So I think those things just start to add up, and those are some good drivers for me. But definitely feeling that was a really good experience, and it made me wonder how I can help other people feel that and really understand that fitness is so deep that you can really change yourself in so many ways. And I'm still learning.
Yeah, definitely. So it was basically like, a series of events that kind of just happened. It kind of happened at different places, different time, and it just kind of built into something that's like, you know what? I think I can really do something, in the future, whether it's like again, maybe being a personal trainer or whatever like that. So I mean, I like that because again, I feel for a lot of people when they share how they got started, it's always like one particular moment at a certain time period. But
I
I
feel
think
like it
for
was like
you,
certain things. Yeah,
yeah, it was kind of
things like
like,
pulling
I'll give
me.
you a hint here and then a little hint here and just kind of like you build the puzzle yourself. And then once the puzzle is
Yeah,
completed, it's like, okay, now I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
yeah, that's a cool way to put it. Exactly.
I love that. And I mean, like, I feel like for you seeing just how you've been able to help so much people, and I remember seeing your stuff on social media, and I thought, like, wow, this is like really great stuff. And I
Thank you.
feel like I don't know if it's me, but you mentioned algorithm. I feel most of my algorithm, I'm always seeing a lot of like the female fitness influencers. I don't know why. It's just like that's just how my algorithm be moving sometimes. And again, like shout out to all the female fitness influencers out there, the
Yeah.
female fitness trainer. But it's like, we're like, where the men at? I was like, where the men at? So I think one day I saw you and I was like, okay, all right,
Whoa.
this. I like to see this, but like even the stuff that you were putting out, it wasn't artificial. It wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this for clicks and likes. It's like it's you actually helping other people realize like their worth in fitness and health and wellness and everything like that, which is super important. And a follow-up question I wanted to ask you, just like, why the name Blacksmith Performance? Because I feel like that name is so potent that there has to be some significance to it.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the dance aspect, and just to give you insight into Crump, like you'd have, there's like people who'd show you the dance style and teach you their ways. So they're called like the big homies, right? You're part of that crew. You'd have their name. Like you could be Big Sean, your little homie would be Little Sean, Kid Sean, right? So at the time, I had a big homie, and then we weren't dancing together, so I didn't really have a name, right? And it's like when you're dancing, you want to have a dance name. So I was already, I think at the time I was interning at a gym. I was already in the direction of fitness. I knew I wanted to be a fitness professional. And I was hanging out with some friends at the dance studio, and they're like, "Yo, Will needs a name." And we're running through names, and Blacksmith came up. And I'm like, Sledge the Blacksmith. I'm like, that's it, Blacksmith. And then instantly I'm like, Blacksmith Performance. That's going to be my brand. When I'm ready to do it, Blacksmith Performance. So that's how it came about. And I just thought of the symbolism of what a blacksmith is. They forge things, they create things, they shape things. They're a service person to their community. So, yeah,
I
I love
love
the
that.
medieval era. I think that's pretty cool. So, blacksmith just really fit.
I love that. But I mean, even like you mentioned, a blacksmith is someone who forges stuff and they help out their community. So like even though, the origins of it was like it was through dancing, and like being part of like this crew, there is some linkage, to the name itself. And it's like I'm actually forging something completely like special and significant for the people that I'm helping out. So I mean, like, I get it. Things kind of work out in a way where it's like it connects. Like maybe for now
Right.
it doesn't make sense, but it connects eventually. I love that. I love that. So going on to the next question. So you've worked with a lot of like clients, and that includes black male clients, and that's what I really want to focus on for this question. So, as a black male fitness trainer, what do you do to encourage more black males to be more serious about their fitness journey? Because I will tell you, I was probably for the longest point the definition of inconsistent. I would do like exercises and then like I would go 2 to 3 weeks without doing nothing. And I fell out of rhythm. And I'm trying to do better now. Just trying to like just do something. And I know even for myself, it's like, well, I'm an entrepreneur. I have other things I gotta work on, but at the same time, I want to keep growing with my fitness journey as well. So I'm trying to figure it out still. So even for myself, how do you try to encourage more black males to realize how important, fitness, health, and wellness is for them on a daily basis and how, they can keep that level of consistency?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. Um, well, we actually met in person at the
It was,
BWC.
yes,
Yeah, we met at that networking group, and so I think part of it is me being in those environments to let people know the benefits of fitness, sharing that knowledge. I think even more simple to that is like just existing. Like I am a black male, right? So instead of overly speaking and saying, hey, this is what you should do as a black male, this is what you should do as a black male to improve your health and fitness, this is what I'm doing as a black male to improve my health and fitness. And this is how it works for me. And then just existing and leading by example, I think that's one of the best ways, right? And people are a lot more they gravitate more to actions and seeing people do things versus hearing things, right? Like probably have people in your life where you've like, oh, I feel like I'm saying this over and over, right? And it's not clicking, but just be the example that you want, and I think people will follow.
yeah, definitely. Do you feel like, again, like when it comes to just how you see, like I'll just be like, let the action speak more than the words. But do you feel like there needs to be a little bit of a middle ground where it's like you have those people who, they're letting their actions speak and it does motivate those individuals. And then you at the other side of the spectrum, there needs to be people who need to like talk more about it and encourage those individuals? Like, do you feel there needs to be like a fine middle ground, or are you kind of more on like let the action speak more than the words? Because I know some people maybe listening, they feel like, oh, I completely hear you, Will, but at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
like it's easier said than done, or like it's easy
Mm-hmm.
for you because you kind of like you understand it, but maybe I need a little bit more time to like be broken down to me in terms of like how I can get started or like what I need to do to get out of the slump. Like, do you feel like there needs to be a middle ground?
Uh, yeah, there's definitely room and opportunity, and it's just another avenue to help people and educate people, right? So same thing I was saying, like me being there and going out to like some of those events where we are going to see a lot of black males at those events, and sharing that knowledge with our community. It's definitely, I think, even some of the conversations I've been having there, it's kind of like started to spark some things in people, because it's super important to be on top of your fitness when you're running a business, when you're providing for family. So I think, yeah, there's definitely a middle ground. I would agree with that. It's a good point.
Yeah, and I could also imagine like again for yourself, running a business like Blacksmith Performance. It's like now you have to like make sure you're obtaining that high level because now it's like, man, oh man, if I'm not like keeping up with myself and people are expecting me to like be that, that pillar, that person that they look up to, it's like it's a lot of pressure. Now, obviously, that's just probably speaking on my aspect, but it's like I don't know if I could even like open up a fitness like service, and it's like there might be days of like, man, I don't even know if I want to do this. Like, should I head to the gym? Like, do I want to go and like hit this like late night workout, but it's like, no, but we need you. I thought you're supposed to be like the guy helping out and everything like that. So I mean, like, do you feel like there's like any pressure into it, or do you feel it's like, nah, this is what I love to do, and I feel like overall, like I am making a change in the services I provide, just the way I'm showing up for myself.
I definitely take that into account and consideration for myself and how I help people. Because for me, at this stage, it's not even a question. I know what I need to do. I know, I'm always working on my craft in some way, whether it's in the gym on my own, um, you know, at home. Like they know, like, I'm working. I'm probably in a room, like doing some corrective exercise and like brainstorming. Oh, is this going to apply to my client? How is this going to work? Anyone who's been to my place, they've also been to my condo gym or have done some weights at my place. So like, I definitely understand like that it can be tough getting into it. And wherever I can break those barriers for people, I try to support them. Just making it really simple.
I love that. I love that. I could also imagine a situation where, let's say you're out and let's say you run into a client and it's like having that weird or awkward moment. It's like, oh no, I see Will. It's like, doesn't run into me. He's like, hey, did you hit arms today? Did you hit arms today? Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. And that happens. That happens for sure. It's not even like that. I think some people have that in their mind that they need to be a certain way around their coach. But I understand, like, fitness is a complement to your life, right? You don't want fitness to overtake your life. For me, it's just really a smooth blend, right? Because it's my career, it's my passion, and I'm constantly working on it. For others, it's just something that can enhance how you do business, enhance how you interact with others in your life, enhance how you feel about yourself. And so just making sure you get that baseline or whatever that means to you, find that, but also enjoy life, right? Go out, have your ice cream, have your treats, but understand like what's going to work for you and be honest with yourself about that.
Definitely. Yeah. Like I love that point of you saying fitness, it should be a compliment, not to your lifestyle. It shouldn't be like your everything 24/7. Cause I feel like that could also be another perception people assume when they see someone like yourself. It's like, oh man, Will's like, he's on it like every single second of the day, like they don't sleep. And listen, I do follow a couple other like fitness influencers. And I had that same perception, like, yo, like I'm a mess. Like these people are like 24/7. All you see on their stories or posts, even like in person, it's like they're just that. But it's like, no, it's like it's just a compliment. I have other things to do. I have other
Yeah.
needs and luxuries that I want. So I think hearing that is like super important, but also understanding like just because it's a compliment doesn't mean that you should waste it. It's not something that you should take for granted. Like try to implement that into your day. Try to make this a constant thing moving forward. I think that's super important.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, all right. I want to go on to the next question here. So, what are some tips for some male entrepreneurs like myself to implement maybe some type of workout plan or even like just something within their busy schedules? Because I know, again, we're always working 9 to 5, and then we always come with the excuse like, I don't know if I can do this, man. I think I'm going to skip the workout today. I'm going to get back to it tomorrow. And then you postpone again and again and again. So,
Yeah.
oh, and I'm seeing the comments right here. So I'm seeing a
Oh,
comment from.
yeah.
I hope I don't butcher your name. I'm not the best with names,
Lin
but
Val.
Linval. Thank you. See, this is why Will's
Yes.
here. He's got my back. So William
People right
helped
here.
with a serious back injury. He stretched me out and showed me amazing exercise to prevent reoccurrence. See, like
Appreciate the shout out.
you got people in the comments, showing you the love, Will, and that's what we're all about here on the Safe Room. It's that, it's that customer value, that client value. So I mean, I love that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yes.
To your question, ways for male entrepreneurs to implement fitness, right?
Yes, like different workout plans into their busy schedules.
I'd say first, like even backtracking a bit from that, is that a great place people want to start is assessing their goals, right? So people off the top, they're like, oh, I should work out. And they just see other people working out, they feel inspired. That's great, that's amazing. But now you really need to have a concrete direction, and goals help you do that, right? So you probably are familiar with SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, timely, or realistic and timely. So those are the things you want to focus on when you're creating a goal. And then once you have your goal, you're going to be able to navigate accordingly. So you have your goal, you know, hey, am I doing mostly like compound movements? Am I doing like more athletic movements? So once you have your goal, you know how you're going to be attacking your workouts, you know how you're going to be scheduling them out. And then I think that's the second point, is like put it in your schedule. A lot of people have this idea like, yeah, I'm going to just fit it into a half time. Like an entrepreneur like yourself, you have your meetings, you have your appointments, you put them in your schedule. Your fitness needs to be in your schedule. It needs to be top of mind. It needs to be in there, and it needs to be blocked, because then so many things can happen in your day. That's your time for you. You have your calendar, it's blocked out. No one can book anything in there. So I think those are the main, that answers your question, main things for people to consider, aside from just the workouts. And then you work from there, and then you can start thinking like, okay, now I have my goal, now I have it in my schedule. You can start building, having some consistency.
Yes, that's super important. And like to even piggyback on like assessing your goals. So like for me, one time I decided to do like a little assessment. I actually went out to someone and they did kind of like an assessment of just like my range of motion, just
Amazing.
like how I was doing certain things. And they said like, like you're fine, but it's like I think you need to really be working on like that strengthening, try to build strength, especially in the lower body. So like, and I know that's the running joke for minutes, like, oh, y'all skip leg day and everything like that. But it was like, listen, it was the truth. It's like, all right, like you got to work on this and you got to work on that. So even stuff like that could be very helpful. But I think again, what you said about scheduling is super important. If you're able to kind of put something in for fitness or working out, again, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I gotta block out like 3 hours. Like if you could put an hour in, I think that's great, because you'd be surprised what an hour could do. Sometimes you'd be surprised what like 30 minutes could do if you
Yeah.
have like the right workout. Sometimes like there's days I will go for 2 hours and I'll be like done. And then there's other days I will do 30 minutes, but I'll still feel that level of impact because of what I actually did for that day. So
Mm.
because of that, I feel a burn. And it's actually made me want to ask another question. And this one might be a little subjective, it might be a little of a sticky question, but what would you say is the best time to get an exercise or a workout in? Like the morning, the afternoon, late at night? I know it's very subjective, but I mean, like, what do you feel in terms of like, I guess maybe some of the like common responses you got from maybe your clients, what
Mhm.
they prefer in terms of like meeting up with you, or like where they prefer in terms of like exercising?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm part of a coach community. Shout out to Ferris 360. Great bunch of coaches there. Um, One coach had mentioned something. She had said um, in one of her posts, I think she said, things that are optimal are not the same as things being ideal. So I think one of the best times to work out is like late morning, early afternoon. You've probably already had something to eat. Your body's waking up, your nervous system's waking up. Cortisol is starting to spike. So especially when it comes to strength training, resistance training, just giving a good effort. Late morning, early afternoon, great time to work out. It happens to fit my schedule. There's times when I can't accommodate those workouts in those times of day. So even though it's optimal, it might not be ideal. So whenever you can get it in, get it in. Whether that's like 5:30 a.m., you're getting in your workout, you haven't even ate yet, but you're going to eat right after, or you're coming from work, put the kids to bed, you're going out back to the gym. So honestly, whatever works for you. So optimal. What's optimal? I think late morning, early afternoon, ideal. Just get it in.
Yeah, and that's like the common answer. It's like I gotta wake up at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, drive to like my local gym, and just like get it in. Because again, you can get it in there. Then you could come back home. You can get something to eat, or maybe like get something to eat. Then you get right into your work day and everything like that. So that is definitely the most common answers I have. Now, personally, I like my sleep. I mean, it's not that I can't wake up at 5:30, but why would I? And I know I've had this conversation before with other people, like even like with my sister. I'm like, oh, I think I should do it. But the more I think about it, it's like, nah, I'm good. I think like I'm fine. And like to your point, I am someone who works out more of like late morning, like early afternoon, so like 1 or 2. Like that is like okay, like I'm good. Like let's get it going. So
And I
then
feel
like
amazing at those times.
yeah, see, like we're on the same wavelength. So
Yeah. And it's also like a little bit of a boost to carry on. Like if you've done your work throughout the morning, right? Your brain's been working, kind of just need to dissociate and get into something different. Early afternoon, get some movement in, boom, back to work. So I love using it as a strategy that way.
yes, that is actually exactly what I was about to say next because I do feel like sometimes, especially again, we have those work days where you just feel like absolute garbage and it's like, oh, I got to make sure I get this done. And sometimes you'll be so driven into that work, then hours pass by. It's like you look at
Mhm.
your watch, it's like 4 or 5. And you're like, oh man, I skipped my workout. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna try to get it in now. But sometimes you'll already feel so tired that you keep saying that and maybe you miss it. And then it's like, oh man, like I could have got my exercise or my workout in earlier in the
That's what
day,
the
but
schedule is for.
yeah. So like guys, I tell you, man, everything's full circle with this conversation. So I love that. I love that. So yeah, we did talk about that, but is there like a specific workout plan that people who are just getting started or like, beginning their fitness journey that they should tap in? Now, again, I know this is like very subjective, but is there any, I guess, specific movements or exercises that's like, okay, if you're just getting started and you just maybe want to like for example, improve your strength, or maybe it's like cardio related. I'm just giving out some situations because I know it's a very deep question. But let's say it's like
Mhm.
improving strength, improving cardio. Like, what would be some specific exercises to start off with?
That's a good question. Really good question. So, in terms of people just starting out, and this is assuming, like, even if you have injuries, you'd scale these type of exercises, however they should fit you. But we all benefit from strength training, resistance training. We all know the studies, how it improves our health, how it improves our longevity for life. What types of movements should we be doing? I like to let people know about primal movements. So every time I'm working with someone, if it's our first time, no matter what their goals are, we essentially work on these movements because they encompass how the human body should move and function. So that would be pushing, that could be horizontal, so in front, vertical, pressing up overhead, pulling, horizontal, vertical, hinging, so like a deadlift motion, squatting, locomotion, moving, heavy carries, and rotation, which a lot of people don't get a lot of. We tend to stick in this like up and down, forward and backwards. Even thinking about your spine houses your whole nervous system, right? And people are so rigid around their spine. People can be tense. Sometimes they just need to stretch or rotate or move, right? And just get interconnected with your body in that way. So I think ensuring that your workouts have all of those movements throughout the week is going to ensure that you're building effectively. Now, what you might need is going to be different from the other person in terms of specifically what exercises, but look at those broad categories and have movements that are compound movements, meaning multiple muscle groups. So, for example, instead of thinking like a bicep curl, think of like a pull up or a bent over row. So you're using not only your back, but your arms.
Mm,
So keep primal movements, push, pull, hinge, squat, locomotion, rotation. you might hear it's like some different variations of that amongst fitness professionals, but that's essentially what I keep in mind.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's really important as well. I mean, kind of having those different primal movements as well. I mean, overall, again, a lot of us kind of go into exercising just kind of free balling it. I used to be that person. I've learned my ways. It's like, that's I can't do that. I was the type of person. It's like I walked in the gym and it's just like if I saw a machine that was empty, I'm just going for it. It's just that was such a terrible mindset. Like even now, I try to like pass it on to people who like maybe aren't, exercising as much. And like I think even for me, saying that right now, it's like who am I? It's like bro, I'm trying to figure things out, but I don't try to pass on information just to say like I'm better than you. It's just like hey, if it gets you to just get started, then that's what I'm here to do. I'll pass it on. But I think that's super important because again, having all those different ranges of movements and motions is super important for anyone who's getting started.
Yeah. And like even to that, what I love about that story, what you mentioned is that okay, it might not have been perfect, like just going into the gym and okay, whatever machine's available, but you started, right? And that's a big thing is that people will, we're in this era of information overload. People are like looking things up and like not doing anything. So you got started, you realized, oh, this is not the best, and you made those adjustments, right? So I think that's another good point.
Yeah, it's trial by error. Sometimes you gotta like fail to understand like where you actually need to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Again, for people who are just tuning in right now, you're listening to the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with Will from Blacksmith Performance. We've been talking a lot about just fitness in general. We've talked about how black males could, get started within their fitness journey, but not just black males, all the males listen to this conversation. We talked a little bit about Will's fitness journey, how he got started, and he shared some juicy details. He shared a lot that I'm learning about like him a little bit deeper, which is really great. We just kind of broke down a little bit of an ideal like workout plan, or I guess how you should get started based on certain movements and motions. So I mean, it's been a very detailed oriented conversation, which was my plan. I wanted this to be very detailed. So I definitely want to go into more in detail and kind of switch gears a little bit, but kind of stay on topic. Nutrition. This is probably my kryptonite because like as bad as I can't like stay consistent working out, the nutrition's like terrible for me. It's like yeah, I feel like if I didn't have good genetics, then oh man, it would have been over for me. It would have been over. So I mean, my question is, how does one person understand the importance of nutrition? Because I know there's a lot to unpack and goes into it, but like, what are some like nutritional tips that some males can learn to like, maybe monitor their calorie intake or just what, ingredients to use, what food items to consume? So again, it's kind of like a two-part question. So the first one being, how does one person understand the importance of nutrition? And what are some nutritional tips that some males can use to just be more aware and be more consistent with their nutrition?
So when you say how do they understand it, as in like
When
how
I
do they
say
wrap their
like,
head around?
I would say like how to understand it because the way I wanted to word this question, because like for me, I would use me as an example. I assumed that when it came to nutrition, it's like, oh, all you have to do is just like eat healthy, and by healthy like eat greens. But I think I overlooked that completely and thought like it's more than just doing that, or like there's more like of a deeper like level to that rather than just like, oh, you
Mm.
eat your greens. Because it's like I could eat like celery and lettuce and all that and be good, but it's like no, like it doesn't work like that, because depending on what you're trying to do, are you trying to like get more carbs, are you trying to like just slim down, or like depending on what you're trying to do, again, realigning or reassessing your goals. I think that has to connect back to what you eat and what you consume. So I guess that's what I mean. How does one person understand the importance of nutrition, how they could use it for their personal
Their
growth?
goals. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess when I think about this, there's a lot that I know, and I recognize that a lot of people don't know these things. Like it's so important to how we get around, but it's not common knowledge, right? So I'd say it's important to like seek, do proper research, connect with a professional who can help you and support you, right? And don't be afraid to ask questions to a professional. Like reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me on email. Um, I'll share some tips right now as well, but I think it's important to like actually seek that knowledge out. Um, and then as you seek it, you're using it, you're tracking, right? Pay attention to things like your energy, your mood, your skin, um, your strength, right? These things can be affected, your sleep quality, these things can be impacted by how you're eating, right? You are what you eat. So as you're starting to change your diet, pay attention to those things, have some sort of measuring tool, and that's going to give you some insight to really understand and feel more connected. Because again, you can read this all this knowledge, but until you feel it, until you experience it, until you see, then you're going to say, that's why I feel better, or that's why my energy is going up, or no wonder I felt like crap, or no wonder I kept waking up in the middle of the night, or no wonder I'm stressed or I'm anxious, right? So I think those are good things to keep aware of. In terms of what people should know, aim for whole foods. You want to have a lot of whole foods. So whole foods are essentially if it flew, if it ran, if it swam, if it grew out of the ground, came off a tree, out of a bush, those are whole foods, right? So you want to have foods that are closest to that. As it goes down the spectrum, it might be packaged, it might be in a can. Then you have things that have a bunch of additives and they're fried. And then, so you want to stay away from those processed foods, and you want to have most of your diet lean towards whole foods. And I always give people a ratio like 80% whole foods. You can have your treats here and there. But if you're shooting in that 80% range, yeah, if you're shooting in that 80% range, you're gonna see results, right? People think you need to be 100% key on, unless you're like competing, you're doing a show or something. Even then, I know some people who don't track the calories and they treat themselves from time to time, unless they're getting to that very end stage. Yeah, you'll see a lot of success. 80% of your foods, mostly whole foods, and then staying away from a lot of processed foods, sugars, trans fats, seed oils, those sort of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the comment that Lynn Val put again, fitness is very important, but the proper nutrition goes hand to hand,
Yeah,
to get the real
yeah.
results. And, again, whole foods is super important, trying to stay away from those processed
That's
foods.
not that's not a plug for the grocery store. Like,
I mean, like, listen, that's a whole different conversation. We talk about like pricing and like stuff. Cause like, I think that's another thing too that could be very discouraging because it's like, you want to get on that whole foods train, but it's like the prices for these things, they ain't cheap, man. And it's just like, yo, brother, it's like, how do you get by that? So, I mean, like, that's something that I feel a lot of people might have as like I guess, a barrier for wanting to jump into that. But I think it's also realizing that, you have to start somewhere. I know for the longest time I said, you know what, I want to try to do something a little bit different. I don't want to try to get so much processed foods into my body and everything like that. Like even like soda. Like I'm trying to like stay away from soda now. It's like, like that's just not my thing. And I'm trying to like stay away from that. So I think it is super important to have that understanding. You mentioned research, doing the research, having even a professional to talk things through with you. If you don't understand it and talk to a professional, they can help you figure out, all right, this is the meals that you should be focusing on. If you need more carbs, then do that. Because for me, I have a high metabolism. Like if I eat something, it's like it's gone. Like I have to eat again. Like that's the type of person I am.
yeah, yeah,
So I feel like it's important to understand those things so that way you know how to manage your nutritional intake moving forward.
yeah, for sure. And I think like we can go even deeper on that, but talking about, why isn't this widely known knowledge? Why doesn't everyone know about this, right? Like then we're talking about like schooling and education, right? About people understanding their bodies, on the deeper level, people understanding how nutrition applies, even on mental health, like physical health. I support people in different avenues when I talk about health and how I coach them. So physical health is just one aspect. We'll talk about nutrition, but we also talk about environmental health, social health, existential health, mental health, and how all of those things tie in. So when I work with people and I ask them, like, even the questions within our assessment, and they're like, oh, I never even thought about that. It's like these things should really be like more common knowledge, right? And like in the conversation.
That is important. Again, like I love how you touched on that educational piece because yeah, you could be teaching these things in school, but I mean like they want to teach y equals mx plus b. I mean, I still don't know why we're learning stuff like that, but like that's what they want to push as the curriculum. Obviously, I have my gripes still, so I don't even want to go into full detail into that. But I
I
mean,
like that you remembered that though.
nah, no. Well, I'm a math guy. Surprisingly, everyone says they hate math. I'm a math guy, so I mean, I guess that's a little known fact of me. Like, I actually like
Hey,
mathematics. You know.
cool. There's a lot of power in mathematics, man.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. Okay, so I want to move into something a little bit different, and this is something we've been doing recently on the show. It's sort of like a role play activity. So I'm gonna pretend like I'm a client or someone who's approaching you, and I'm just trying to get some more information about some of your services, what you can do to help me. So like I hope you're good at drama class because this is kind of like what this is. It's like drama class in a way.
Cool. I'm up for this.
Okay, perfect. So like, just pretend like I'm just a completely different person. I'm not Shon Williams. I don't know who I am this week. Actually, you know what? I remember one week someone said you should go by this moniker, and I completely forgot. I should have wrote it down, but it's okay.
Ooh, an
It's all.
AKA.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could. You give me a name. Who should I be for this role play activity?
Mm, man, Mike. I'll call you
Mike.
Mike. MIC. I just see that big in the background.
Okay. All
You
right.
know, I'm Mike.
Perfect. All right. So, hey, well, my name is Mike. I saw you on IG and I saw some of the stuff that you do. And I actually had a friend who says he's a client for you. So he kind of connect me to, the stuff that you were doing. I wanted to, get back into my fitness journey. So like I've been doing fitness like before for like the last couple of years, but ever since like maybe last year, it's just kind of decreased because I've been working a new job. I've been super busy. And I mean, overall, it's cut into my time where it's like, okay, I need to get back to what I was doing consistently. And I'm just trying to figure out how to, do that more, but also get some support in the way. So like maybe you can tell me, what services you offer, just how your approach is to someone like myself who's trying to get back into the fitness game.
Yeah. Cool. Pleasure to meet you, Mike. Shout out to your friend and get me that referral. But yeah, so I'm hearing that you haven't, sounds like you haven't been working out for a while and you want to get back into it. You want to get back and moving. Tell me a little bit more about that. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I was a person when it came to my workouts. I really, you know, I focused a lot on cardio. Like I wanted to be someone who's like improving my cardio. I did do some like resistance training, strength training, but cardio was definitely the one thing I was pushing heavy. But again, for the last couple of years, I've noticed that I've tried to do like little morning runs, but I would be exhausted. And I think in doing that, like I'll be completely transparent with you. I haven't been eating the healthiest. I feel like I've kind of slipped off that trend as well. So I feel like that might have to do in terms of like just, anytime I go on the treadmill or try to go for my morning runs, it just doesn't feel the same. But I was someone who's very avid. I used to work out like maybe 4 or 5 times a week, and do my runs. But yeah, ever since again I started this new job, I've been working like 9 to 5s. And I just had no time to like really put anything into my schedule. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now.
So it sounds like you're really passionate about running, even though you've done some resistance training. Like running seems to be your thing. Like, have you done like long distance, like 5K, 10K, any marathons?
Yeah, I've done a couple 5K, 10K for sure. I did one marathon. It was definitely like a experience itself training for that. But I mean, I love doing that. Again, I love to run. That's kind of like my personal safe space where I can just kind of block out everything. So yeah, I've done a couple of those long distance runnings before.
Yeah, cool. So it sounds like your experience and you've been working through like just trying to get back onto that. What exactly are you looking for at this stage?
So I'm gonna be again honest. Right now, I'm still working, but I feel like now I want to actually delegate more time into like getting my workouts in. So am looking for like a personal trainer, who could just help me get back into that fitness regime, just that final form that I used to be in. So something like, late night sessions for me would work because, I finish work at 5 and I think it just works best to kind of just get into the gym right after. I don't want to just go home and just like sleep it off or completely forget about it. And just like the mornings again are just too hectic for me. So somewhere in like the evening or late nights and something around maybe hopefully 3 times a week or even 4 times. I kind of want to work my way up eventually to what I was doing before. But
Mhm.
late night sessions, probably having you as a personal trainer to help me improve my cardio. Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm looking as like my
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah, I love that. Like I'm hearing a lot about this ambition, right? Like you're working your way out of the slump, you have this drive, you want to get back into the running. And I love helping people with their goals. And what's important for me is like really understanding them. So when I hear you talk about this run, getting back into the running, what is it that inspires you? Like why is it that you want to get into running right now? What's motivated you?
So I know you asked a question about the long distance running, and I actually did a marathon a couple years ago, and that same marathon happened, this year, and I had a lot of my friends participate in that, and I didn't do the run, but I was kind of there as like a support, system, just there cheering them on, and it made me realize how much I missed it because it was more than just the running, but the actual environment, people just uplifting you, building you up. And I even had some people, walk up to me and say, like, "Hey, Mike, you're not doing the run this year?" It's like,
Mm,
I don't know. It's just like time and everything. And I felt guilty because like I felt I had to lie to them. It's like, oh yeah, I just been busy, which yes, I was busy, but I also felt like I could have took the time to actually work on this and be part of this. So I definitely it sparked something in me that's like, I want to get back to that, not just to say, oh, I'm doing it for people, but for myself as well, to know that like I can actually do it and it's something that brings me, immense joy.
mm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. You're super passionate about running. And I'm hearing that it's not just the physical aspect, but it's like the community, right? Like you want to keep your body sharp. You want to connect with friends again, feel fun, feel, the runner's high, be a part of the running clubs, I guess. Like you want to enjoy that thing, those moments again. So yeah, that gives me a good understanding of what you're looking for. Uh, let's connect. Let's connect for an assessment. I'll get some more insight into, how your body's moving, where you're at. We'll talk a little bit more about baselines. I'll let you know where I'm at and how I can support you. I don't do long distance personally, but I can help you feel stronger, make sure that you don't get injured and help you along the way.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. I definitely want to make sure that I'm not getting injured myself. I had my fair couple of injuries, so I do appreciate you wanted to help me in that. So yeah, like in terms of like the assessment, do I got to go to like a website that allows me to sign up for an assessment?
Yeah, well, I'll pull out my calendar and we can set a time right now. How does tomorrow work for you?
You
Tomorrow,
know
2
what?
p.m.
I think tomorrow works well. I mean, my boss isn't really heckling me this time of the week, so I think tomorrow works perfect.
Awesome. Let's do it. Send me your email. I'll plug you in and send you an invite.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate it.
All right, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Scene. Honestly, that might have been the best role play activity I've ever done. Like that was like extensive. I love it.
That was fun. That was
Yeah.
fun. That's
Honestly, like no, like that was great.
yeah, yeah. And I actually do a lot of role play when it comes to those sort of scenarios. Just
Okay.
speaking. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're basically a pro. So let me get this straight. So you do fitness. Oh, I used to be a dancer. I'm also good with drama. Just like, yeah, there's nothing I can't do, you know?
It helps
So
having those conversations. And yeah, I don't know if you felt pressured, but essentially I just
oh
try to like
no.
dig and get an understanding of what people want. Some people say, yeah, I just want to work out. I want to get fit. I'm always like, hey, what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Why do you want to train? Why are we going to connect? And then that even makes me understand if we're going to be a good match, right? Like, I'm not just going to take a client just because they're a client or a potential client. I want to make sure that I can support them. There's like great coaches in the city. If I can't help you, I can send you to someone who's going to be really fitting. If I can help you, great. Let's book something in. So it's important to really like get to know what people want and what they mean when they say, I want to get fit, I want to get healthy. Because that's subjective, right? It can mean something different to anyone.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, those are all the main stuff I have, but I do have a little fun activity to wrap things up. So something we like to do to just kind of end off in a good vibe. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
activity, this was actually pretty fresh, but again, I always tell people that when it comes to activities, I literally do this the day of. It's really just how I'm feeling, how I'm feeling. So for
That's
today,
some fun.
yeah, have some fun basically. So for today, I want to do sort of like a workout playlist. Like let me ask you, are you someone who like when you're exercising, you're listening to music?
Yeah, yeah, I like my music. Like, there's definitely been a phase. Actually, this whole year, I've been focusing on listening to more podcasts. So that's been a switch. But like, I have my playlist.
Okay, just a
Some
just
workouts need the music.
recommendation, the safe room. I'm just saying, just saying for your next set,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
the safe
yeah.
room. So,
I got you.
yeah, okay. So for this, I have it in different categories. So we're gonna try to build out, your workout playlist based on music and everything like that. Okay.
Cool, cool.
All right. So let's say you're starting off, your workout and you're on the treadmill for like an hour. What album are you listening to during that treadmill session?
Hmm. Treadmill albums.
Like you're just running and running. Like what's the album that's like, this is gonna be like just playing from start to finish for an hour?
I'm probably listening to a podcast on the treadmill. Probably listening to a podcast. If I'm gonna pick a music, it's probably gonna be something just chill. Maybe not too many lyrics. I'm probably gonna go with something on YouTube. Maybe just like a lo-fi vibe or some instrumentals. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, I think that's a good choice too, because like I feel like when you're on the treadmill, it could bring some type of like soothness. So it's like I don't want to be hearing like any rap in my ear, just like running into or like
I'm just on the treadmill. I'm just chilling. Like,
I feel you. I feel you.
never
Okay,
seen
well,
I never seen anyone head bobbing on a treadmill.
that's very true. That is very true. Okay. Well, let's say you finish the treadmill now. Now you're warming up. You're stretching. Like what genre of music is going through the headphones at this moment?
Yeah, so the warm up as things start to pick up. Um, Man, I like a lot of currency, Larry June. I like those
Wow,
vibes. Yeah.
that's a W in
And
my book.
all right. So they got cool vibes, and I think there's things that can kind of like pick up, pick up the mood, pick up the vibe. Fun beats, kind of get your head bobbing a little bit, right? So you can start to have some fun, start to feel a little bit of bounce.
Mm, I love that. I love how you mentioned Larry June because again, you mentioned that lower like tonality at the beginning of the conversation. So it's like it's appropriate because like if anyone listens to Larry June, this man is like he's baritone, like this is like how he raps, you know. So okay, I love that. All right, so let's say you're within sets, you know, you're doing your sets, you're feeling good, and let's say you just need three songs to get you hype, you know,
Three
just say
songs.
yes.
Let me pull up the Spotify. No.
It's like, hold on, gotta pull up the Spotify, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta see what's in there.
Three songs
And
getting into
listen,
my
for
sets.
everyone, yes, and for anyone in the comments, you can put your answers too. Like let us
Yeah,
know. It doesn't
let's
have to
make a big
be,
playlist.
yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I rotate through some things, man. I rotate, but like you said, three songs. Sometimes I'll listen to three songs for a whole 45-hour workout and just maybe I'll play one and kind of like hold that for an exercise, switch up another exercise. But it kind of depends on the mood. Like, you know, I'm listening
Okay.
to a lot of K Tronada. I like the vibe. I like the music, the beats. So K Tronada is fun. Larry June could stay in there. Currency, um, things that get my head bobbing. Alchemist, I love anything that Alchemist puts out. Amazing producer. If I need a little
Oh,
bit of like something grungy, something hard, I'm going the Alchemist bag. Um, yeah, kind of on those tunes. But then sometimes, like I think last week I was hitting some reggae, right?
mm,
So it's honestly just whatever you're feeling at that time. So it's mostly hip hop, um, maybe some neo soul, some different vibes. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I love that. Okay, so we got two more categories, then we're gonna wrap things up. Let's say you're going for your PR. What is the song that you're listening to for that PR lift?
That one song.
Yes, it's got to be
Mm,
that one song. It's like, listen, I'm going for the PR. I need this to be like, yo, we're locked in.
yeah, it's probably Larry June, man. It's got to be some Larry.
Like any
A lot
specific
of
Larry June.
he's
Anything
got some
specific.
songs. He's got an album, The Orange Print, track called Intercepted, and yeah, I think that might get some plays. That might get when Spotify does its wrap up. It might be in
Mm,
there. It might be in there this year.
okay, I like that. Honestly,
Yeah.
for me, if it have to be like Larry June, it's probably '89 Earthquake. I could not get that song out of my head.
Ooh,
I could not get
good
that song out of my head.
selection.
Yes, yes. Okay. All right. So let's say, you finished your workout, you're feeling great. Now you're leaving the gym. Like, what's that last song you're listening to when you're leaving the gym?
Last song, like the exit track.
Yeah.
Mm, It'll probably be something mellow, something chill on the walk home. Uh, who's that listening to? The internet, if you know the internet.
Mm.
Yeah. So something
Okay.
chill, good vibes, maybe some R&B. It's done.
I
Get the
love
nervous
that.
system come back down.
I love that. I love that. And I'm seeing the comments are showing some love still. Will is an
Hey,
amazing
hey.
coach. Will got everything you do. For real, it's not just like the workout regimen and everything like that. It's also the music. I guarantee you might have to start tapping into Will for the music aspect now. So
Hey, maybe I'll share a playlist tomorrow. Stay tuned. I'll share some playlists
hmm
in the stories.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's everything I have for today. Will, thank you so much for coming on the Safe Room, man. I had a fantastic time talking with you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Just
Thank you for having me.
seeing, of course, man, seeing all the amazing work that you're doing, man. Just keep it up, bro, because you're definitely inspiring people. Like you're inspiring myself to just stay consistent in what I'm doing, even when it's tough. It's like just do it. If it's like
Mhm.
for 30 minutes or even for 10 minutes or just something, just do something. You're definitely inspiring a lot of people, which is great to hear.
Thank you, man. And yeah, for you to end on anything, if people were to, take anything from this, put it in your schedule, put it in your schedule, put it in your schedule, and get started. You'll make mistakes. You're not going to be the coolest looking person in the gym. Don't worry. Put on your headphones, do your thing. When you're ready for help, I'm here. Reach out to me. Blacksmith_performance, Instagram. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, again, if you want to check out us on Instagram or at the Safe Room Official, or check out my personal page, the President of TO. And, guys, we're just really glad that we're having these conversations here on the platform. It's almost the end of the year. And, I'm kind of thinking about doing a special episode, maybe doing like a recap of some of my top conversations here in Love Bay. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we have to, do some thinking about that, because I've done a lot, and man, oh man, like it's gonna be hard, and like I don't know if I want to upset people. It's really like, why am I not on the list, Sean? Like, how come I didn't make it? It's just, so I don't know. It's a hypothetical.
The numbers don't lie. It's the views.
Absolutely. Again, check us out on Instagram at the Safe Room Official, the President of TO for my personal page. Check us out on YouTube. Check out my personal page, Shon Williams. Head to our website, thesaferoom.ca. We have a new service that we're offering, a video business plan. So you definitely want to check that out if you're interested in that. But until then, guys, make sure you're tuning in next week, Thursday, to your favorite show here on Love Bay Radio. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.